Good morning, everyone. We're working with expressions still and equations. We're starting to solve more complex equations as we build on our algebra stuff. Stuff we're going to use throughout most of the course, so I just want to make sure we get the basics down in this first unit to be able to solve equations as we go through. Yesterday we worked on 1- and 2-step equations, which are fairly simple, pretty straightforward. Moving numbers to the left or right side of the equal sign, dividing by a coefficient to get the variable by itself, and working from there. Today we're going to kind of move into distributive property and then multi-step ones where you're doing more than 2 steps, probably 3 or 4 steps as we go through. So to start, we're solving with the distributive property. The distributive property means there's parentheses in the property in the example in the equation. With a number outside, it would look something maybe like 2 times x plus 4 equals 0. What we're looking to do there is the first step is we need to distribute the 2 through the parentheses, which basically means multiply everything inside the parentheses by the 2. So we would rewrite this as 2x plus 8 equals 0. And then from there you follow the steps that we had for 2-step equations. The undo addition and subtraction, then you'll undo your multiplication and division, and you'll have your answer. So our example here, we have 4x minus 3 equals 8. Like I said, our first step is to distribute the 4 through the equation. So we multiply everything inside the parentheses by 4. Remember your signs. So we end up with 4x. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And that's all still going to equal 8. We don't have to multiply the 8 by the 4. We're only multiplying what's inside the parentheses by 4. Now from there we just go. We undo our addition or subtraction first. So we're going to add 12 to both sides here to undo that subtraction. We have 4x equals 20. Then we're going to undo our multiplication by division. We're left with x equals 5. So it's still not fully complex, tons of stuff going on, but you can see that we have some things that we need to do, extra steps now, the distributive property to kind of get to an example or our answer. So here's 4 problems for you to try. Go through again, work them through, enter your answer in Edpuzzle what you find x to equal, then come back and check to make sure you get your steps right. The answers I will have up, and everything will be good. All right, so you should have been able to work these through. The highlighted answers, I've highlighted the answers in yellow. In the first one, we had to distribute the 5 through. So you would have ended up with 5x plus 15 equals 20. You follow your steps from yesterday, you would have found that x equals 1. Second one, number 2, distribute the 7. We end up with 14x minus 28 equals negative 14. Again, then follow your steps from yesterday. We find out x equals 1. Again. The third one, multiply the 3 through the parentheses. We end up with 6x plus 21 equals negative 3. Again, you follow your steps, you undo your addition, then undo the multiplication. You end up with x equals negative 4. And then the last one we have there, distribute the 4 through. We have 4x minus 8 equals 16. Undo the subtraction by adding 8 to both sides. Undo the multiplication by dividing both sides by 4. We find out our answer is 6. Does that make sense to everyone? Everybody sees what we're working on there? Okay, good. Sometimes we're going to have variables on each side of the equal sign. So our steps there now is to isolate the variable onto one side. That's what we're eventually trying to get to do. So we need to do that to kind of start the equation. Once you've done that, you've moved the variable to the left or the right, whichever is easier for you to do your math. Doesn't always have to be to the left. Then you just follow the same steps we just did. So here's our example. If we look, we have x on the right and the left side of our equal sign. I have to figure out which side I want to move it to. Rule of thumb I always use in my mind is I want to work and have the coefficient in front of the variable, in this instance x, to be positive. So I have negatives on both sides. I want to move it from this side because when I move it from the right to the left, I'm going to end up with a positive coefficient. So I'm going to add 8x to both sides first here. That leaves me with 2x plus 14 equals 12. Now we just go and we follow the steps we had yesterday. We undo our addition, minus 14 from both sides. Leaves me with 2x equals negative 2. Undo my multiplication. find out x equals -1. Does that make sense to everyone? Like I said, you can do whatever you want to do. We could have moved it to the left. I will actually show you. We could have done that on this way here. If I start over here, minus 6x plus 14 equals 12 minus 8x, and I add 6x to both sides. Here I have plus 14 equals 12 minus 2x. Now I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. I end up with 2 equals -2x. Now I'm dividing by -2, which still gives me x equals -1. It's just, you get the same answer, it's just whatever you prefer. I prefer working with positive coefficients in front of my variables, so that's what I do. Okay, again, 4 problems for you to try. Work through them, enter what you found x to equal into Edpuzzle, and then come back and check your answers. All right, so again, the answers are highlighted in yellow. The first one, I moved x from the right to the left, again, working with positive coefficients. Once I did that, I undid all my stuff. I ended up with x equaled 6. Number 2, this time here, I worked with positive, so I moved everything to the right this time. That was going to keep me with the positive coefficient in front of x. So I subtracted 2x from both sides. I ended up left me with -4 equals 5x minus 14. Moved the 14 to the other side because I want to get the x by itself. Divided by 5, got x equal 2. Third one, this time here again, move the 2x. So I subtract 2x from both sides. Leaves me with positive x plus 4 equals -3. Subtract 4 from both sides. We end up with x equals -7. And then the last one I threw in an extra step for you where we had to distribute first. So here we distributed the 4x minus 2 to that. So we had 4x minus 8. We moved 2x from the right to the left. So I added 2x to both sides. Left me with 6x minus 8 equals 16. Added 8 to both sides. Left me with 6x equals 24. Divided by 6, x equals 4. So that was just precursor to what we're going to start working on now. Now we're kind of into the full-on multi-step, I can throw anything at you types of problems. These are the steps that you should remember on how to solve multi-step equations. You always want to use the distributive property first. It's always step 1. Very important step. I like to do it first. Just gets it out of the way. I work on that. The next thing I do, I haven't had any here yet. I don't know if I'll do some in the future, but I want to clear any fractions or decimals if I can. If it's going to make the problem easier, I want to get rid of the fraction. Typically what that's going to do is multiply everything by the reciprocal of the fraction, or maybe multiply everything by whatever the denominator was, find some greatest common denominator of whatever the fractions are if there's more than one fraction, to kind of get that through. We'll show an example. Probably tomorrow I'll do one with that, just to kind of get you through and see what it looks like. Then we're just going to combine all like terms on each side. So if we have like terms, we're going to combine all those. We're going to move the variables all to one side. Now we're just following our steps from before. This is pretty much all the steps we've had working with yesterday and earlier today. So what we're doing is we have our problem here. Here's our example. We have distribution on both sides. I have variables on both sides. I look like I get a bunch of variables in there. So I'm going to distribute everything through first. 2x minus 45. -5 times -2 becomes positive 10x. That's going to equal, again, I'm going to distribute 2 through here. 2x plus 16 minus 13. So I've used the distributive property. Look, I don't have any fractions. I don't have to worry about that one. So now I combine all my like terms on each side. On the left, my like terms are 2x and 10x. So I combine those, I get 12x. That's going to be minus 45 still. Equals 2x. My like terms over here are that. So that's going to leave me with plus 3. Now I have an equation that's just back to the steps that we had yesterday. I'm moving, and even from this morning, earlier today, moving 2x, minus 2x from both sides. Division with 10x minus 45 plus 3. So then I'm going to move, I'm actually going to come up here now and rewrite this over here, give me more room. 10x minus 45 equals 3. That's what it's supposed to equal. This should be equals, not plus. Sorry about my mistake down here. Okay. So working up over here now, I'm going to add 45 to both sides. I'm left with 10x equals 48. Again, divide both sides by 10 to get rid of x by itself. So in this instance, I turn out that x equals 4.8. But the only time you don't have to leave the fraction, you can leave fractions for answers. Just simplify them down. This is like the only time when you're writing by 10, just make it a decimal. It's going to be much easier for you and me as we go forward. Does that make sense to everybody what I did there? Double check on my work, make sure everything's good. Yes. Okay, so that's the multi-step. Those are following all the steps. Just do everything, undo everything we need to undo, and off we go. I can make the problems from here now. You can see I can expand these and make these super, super crazy, busy, difficult to make you kind of work them through. All right, so here's some more examples. I'll work through these. Just show you different ways where we're not always doing the same thing. Some things might work a little bit differently. Just to go through that. So here we're going to combine our like terms. 6b plus 16 equals 46. Subtract 16 from both sides. 6b equals 30. Divide by 6. B equals 5. Pretty straightforward, that one. Everybody should have been able to follow that along. I went through it quickly. Again, here we're going to distribute 2 through the parentheses first. 4b. That's going to become minus 10, not plus negative 10. Always do it as minus. Minus 10 plus 4b equals 46. Combine my like terms. We have 8b minus 10 equals 46. Add 10 to both sides. We end up with 8b equals 56. Divide both sides by 8. Again, you can use a calculator if you need to. We find out that b equals 7. Okay, last one, we got variables on both sides this time. I start with minus 36 plus 2w is going to equal negative 7w plus 19. I combine my like terms here. The 8w, the negative 8w, and the 8w, and the w. Now I got to move some stuff around. I am going to add 7w to both sides. So minus 36 plus 9w equals 19. Move the 36, so add 36 to both sides. End up with 9w equals 55. Divided by 9. And we end up with w equals 55 over 9. Like I said, we can leave that as a fraction. You do not have to do the math out to get a decimal. You don't have to reduce it to a mixed number. You can just leave it as 55 over 9. I am perfectly happy with doing that and giving you credit. Okay, so now your turn. Some problems for you to work on. Take your time working them through. Make sure you're following all the steps. Show your work. Remember, on the test for this unit, if you're not showing all your work, I can't give you as many points as you possibly can get if you get something wrong. If I can't see where you made your mistake, then I have to take more points away. All right, so go through and your answers in the Ed puzzle and come back and check your work. And I'll kind of go over and show you a little bit in that one how I'm going to grade the test when we're doing these. Okay, so hopefully you got the right answers. These are all the steps I went through. What I would look at, I'm going to change my color here as I kind of do this, just to walk you through like what I will do on a quiz or a test to kind of show you how I'm going to grade these. So basically what you're going to see is each line of this thing would be worth 1 point. So this, if you had this line right, that's +1. If you did that right, that's +1. If you did what you did, it's going to be +1. The math through here would be +1. This will be +1. Your line here would be +1. To divide by the right thing would be +1. And then the answer is going to be +2. So basically what we have here is it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is an 8-point question on a test. Okay? If you didn't show me any work and wrote down that x equaled -4, you get all 8 points. Awesome. That's fine. If you didn't show me any work and you wrote down that x equaled 4, that's wrong. It's not 4, it's -4. So in that instance, I have to take all 8 points away because I didn't see how you got to -4. If you had gone through and did all your work and showed me all your work and wrote down that x equals 4, and I noticed that you had every step was right to here, and then I saw you divided by 3, and then you just forgot to bring the negative sign down, that's only -2. Might even be only -1 because you just forgot the negative sign. So rather than not getting any points, you got 7 of the 8 points, which you didn't get the question totally right, but 7 out of 8 is a lot better than 0 out of 8. So that's why I want you to show you work on a test. Same thing here. I'd look at this. This question here would probably be a 6-point question. Again, it's 1 point for each line, so +1, +1, +1, +1, +1, +2. So maybe it would be 7 points. Then the last one there would probably be more of a 10-point question because we're distributing twice. So there's more chance for you to go wrong, but there's more steps for you to do, more lines for you to show me work, more chance to keep getting extra credit, not extra credit, sorry, get partial credit as you do the problem. So you should get x equal -4, x equals 6, x equals 2. Did this make sense today? I'm sure it's stuff that you've kind of seen as you were coming up through school. We're just expanding on it now. Like I say, I can do more difficult problems, which I will do on our test. There'll be an extra credit problem that will be a challenge for everybody. A little bit of a stretch to where we are in class, just making sure that you know what you're doing and trying to see if you can get that as extra, kind of think everything through to get those extra points. Okay, so there is a homework worksheet on Google Classroom. I think it's going to be 15 to 20. I don't remember exactly how many questions. Just working through problems. They're all going to be varying levels of difficulty, varying levels of steps, whether there's distribution or not, whether there's variables on both sides or not. Kind of working through, see what you can get, and be ready for it. Remember, tomorrow's half day is the test correction thing on the quizzes from the Friday before vacation. We're going to go through those during class time, going through some problems. I'll be like in the class kind of leading it, making sure that everybody's on the same question, if I can kind of get it sorted out correctly. So that you're just going through, doing all the questions again, making sure you're getting the right answers. I'm be working through more of the difficult ones with you to help you get the right answer, kind of leading a discussion on what should be done. So kind of be prepared to do a little bit of talking in class tomorrow over the Zoom call. And I will talk to everybody tomorrow, and then I will see you guys in class on Thursday.